Welcome back, field hockey fans, to LHSN. We're changing up the scene a little bit. We are perched up on the hill, a bit of a unique perspective here for today's neutral site game between your Lynchburg Hornets, entering today at 5-1 and coming off career win number 650 for the legend herself, head coach Enza Steele. They will take on the team who kind of got the short end of the stick in this neutral site matchup. York having to make a bit of a longer trip down from Pennsylvania for this game. But we talked about the legendary head coach Enza Steele. Let's talk about a legendary season in the making early on here for York. They're off to a 6-0 start. That is tied for the best start in program history. A win today would propel them, of course, to 7-0. That would be the best start, and they enter today's contest ranked 7th in the country. That is the highest that this York program has ever risen in the NFHCA poll. So a bit on the line today. It's the first ranked matchup for Lynchburg. So looking to pick up a big win over a top 10 team. For York on the other side, they already hold one of the best wins, if not the best win in the country. That was a victory earlier this year over then number 2 Johns Hopkins, but looking to strengthen up their resume today as well against Lynchburg, who of course still sits at number 25 in the most recent NFHCA poll. As the teams trot on out to the field, we will run you through our starting lineups. It is business as usual for Lynchburg, continuing to roll with the same starting 11. It'll be Kayla Brady in goal. She will be joined by Kanyasili Mazizi, Danielle Kuhn, Allie Freeman, Mallory Lamb, Riley Cameron, Olivia Muir, Marlou Vendricks, Kessa Schaefer, Madison Mark, and Aaron Boatwright. The other side for York, it'll be Maggie Spatafora, the 4'11 midfielder, junior out of York, Pennsylvania herself. She'll be joined by Katie Martino, Reese Hardman. It'll be Riley Bouchert, Sarah Peak, Brooke Cordisco, Olivia Miller, Macy Collison, Hannah Huffman, Libby Wild, and Belle Fields, will start in goal for York. It is the Spartans who control the first possession of the day, trying to get out of their own backfield. Foul will turn it back over to Lynchburg, and it's Vendricks moving towards us here on the near side of Thayer Field. Very beautiful campus here on Sweet Briar. Only about 30 minutes up the road from Lynchburg. So again, as I mentioned, a pretty easy trip, but also the first time we're going to get to see Lynchburg play on AstroTurf this year. Something that head coach Enza Steele has talked about at length, especially for international players. Says, you're talking about players that since the age of 5 or 6 have really known nothing but this AstroTurf, the preferred surface for field hockey. Lynchburg, of course, not AstroTurf. So, she said they're actually making the adjustment when they're playing their home games. Might actually see them moving a little bit quicker today. So turnover, first one of the day for Lynchburg, sends it back to York. They will work around near side. Lynchburg, a team, of course, as it is well documented, likes to apply pressure from the offensive side. That's not to take anything away from the defense. Riley Cameron at center back anchors a great back defensive line, but you see Kanye Mazizi forcing her first turnover of the day. And back and forth we go near midfield. Who wants to control possession in the early going? Kessa Schaefer did momentarily and sends it right back over to York. So they will reset at midfield. Riley Bouchert, 5'6" midfielder, keys it back in for the Spartans. Trying to split a pair of defenders in the attacking third. Now it's Marlou Vendricks coming back the other way. She ricochets that pass off of the boot of the left back for York. Believe that is Reese Hardman. 5th year at Alexandria, Virginia, back in her home state. York coming off a win over Dickinson. That's a team Lynchburg played early on this year as well. It's a 3-0 victory, third shutout of the year for Katie Foss' squad. Foss in her 7th season, the helm of this program. Also captained this team to that aforementioned 6-0 start, the current best in program history. So a pair of coaches that, to say they've made their mark on their respective programs, probably an understatement. On a day where, for all my college football fans listening in, there's a lot of top 25 matchups in the Division I football realm. We got one of our own on the field hockey field here. Brunch time special, 11 a.m. start. Actually started right at 11 today. May have even been 10:59. Getting a head start on today's action. Danielle Kuhn, a spin move, tries to force it inside. Madison Mark was the intended recipient. Take a look there, far side of your screen, I should say. Athletic Director John Waters out there shagging balls on the near side. He can do it all. Now inside, bouncing along the end line. How about the stick skills from Kanye Mazizi? Eventually has it taken away. Battles to get it back. She's going to get whistled for the foul. So taking it away from her was Bouchert. Called her name a couple times in the early going today. She forces the turnover from arguably one of, if not the best offensive player with the stick for Lynchburg. She's just a freshman, but Kanye Mazizi, six-sport athlete in high school, plays for the Zimbabwe U21 national team, and she has made her mark early on in her freshman campaign for Lynchburg. Now York trying to get out in transition on the near side. Katie Marino balancing out right sideline, has it knocked out by Riley Cameron. York retains possession. Crossing shot. It's not going to make its way to the recipient. Now it gets by everybody. Kayla Brady has to look alive in goal there for the first time today. It is not forced to come up and make the save. Ball rolls out of bounds on the other side. Be sent back in for Lynchburg. So each team feeling its opponent out a little bit in the early going. Don't want to say it's sloppy, but we may see a little bit of sloppiness today. It's a rainy day. We're perched here under the tent here on this near side behind the Lynchburg attacking goal for this first half. It's being guarded, of course, by Belle Fields, one of the best, if not the best goalkeeper in the MAC Commonwealth. Save percentage up near 90%. Yeah, that's pretty good. That'll get it done most of the time. And we already mentioned the 3 shutouts coming into today. Mazizi has it center of the field, trying to get Lynchburg out from its back against the wall. Foul's going to help them do so. Looks like that is Allie Freeman to send it back in. Freeman and Mazizi both starting in every single one of Lynchburg's games so far this season. It's a Lynchburg team that poses a unique combination of depth and some young legs in the form of freshmen. That ball goes a little too high for the officials' liking. Whistle, dangerous foul, gives it back to Lynchburg. So through the first better 5 minutes of this opening period, it's been back and forth. Both teams having an opportunity to set some things up on the offensive side. Not a great look at a shot yet. That one a little too fast for Marlou Vendricks. She was unable to track it down. Again, that ball is going to move a little bit faster than we're used to seeing it go here on this surface. It's going to be a fast pace, should be a very fun game, and early on, both of those have certainly been the case. Splitting a pair of defenders there is Reese Hardman, trying to work it up ahead. It's stopped again by that center back, Riley Cameron. Lynchburg again trying to set things up here in their attacking third. Comes a hard hit from Allie Freeman. It's stopped and sent back the other way. It's Sarah Peak this time. She scoots it across to the left side. That pass not getting quite all of it. Looks like Spatafora. Now she's battling, trying to slow down Kessa Schaefer. Schaefer's shot goes inside. Pass, I should say, for Aaron Boatwright. But the team leader in goals and points, former all-conference defender turned left wing, unable to corral it before York can break it up. Turns it back over to the Spartans. That ball over everybody's head, but eventually tracked down by Cameron. She tracks over to the left side, has to back up and swing it back over to Muir. This Muir will try to work up to Freeman, see if Freeman can track it down. Not quite. That ball squirted away from her and out of bounds on the right side. Sent back in quickly by York. A pair of very athletic teams. They're going to test each other physically throughout this 60-minute contest. A pair of teams that know how to score as well. Lynchburg, a 9-goal outing just a couple of games ago. Their season high, and we'll call it a surprising level of offensive output against a decent Kenyon team. Now York trying to set up a good look. Their best opportunities so far on the offensive side. Brady's on the ground trying to make a save. Ball's rolling all over the place. Sightline a little bit tricky from here to see just how close that ball was to rolling in. Looked like it rolled right across the front of the goal, and Brady, again, was forced to hit the turf. Brady will be credited with her first save of the day. First shot put up by York there. Not sure who the shot was credited to yet. Hasn't been recorded yet in the system, but again, first storyline of the day, just under midway through the first quarter. Kayla Brady makes the game's first save. She was tested only once. Lynchburg's last time out as a 2-1 victory in midweek action over Randolph-Macon. ODAC opener for Lynchburg. Now, one time she was faced, it did get the best of her. So a rare 0-save day for Brady, but also can't complain with your opponent only getting up one shot on goal on the day. Generally going to win more of those than not. Foul on the right around midfield, turns it over to Lynchburg, taken back immediately by York, operating in space near midfield. Riley Bouchard able to work it back ahead into the attacking third for York. Now, far side looks like it's Danielle, check that. It's Mallory Lamb battling for it. A pair of Spartans giving chase defensively. Cameron's going to try to work it ahead and get out of harm's way. Oh, broken up. Believe it's number 16, Olivia Miller, breaking that one up. A foul called. Looks like, no, not quite inside the circle, but it will be reset just outside of the semicircle for York. Looked like they were going to have a pretty decent chance set up there momentarily. It was quelled by Lynchburg, and now the Hornets force the turnover. That ball gets past and then a little bit misplayed by Aaron Boatwright. It goes out of bounds again on this right side. Really should say near side. It's the right side of our vantage point here. So take a little bit of getting used to throughout the day. But a very nice backdrop here at Sweet Briar's campus. Wouldn't mind if we got to see it with the sun out, but, you know, nobody can really control that. Rain off and on today as we approach closer and closer to the noon hour. It's a little bit rainier, especially early in the day today. Lynchburg turns it back over this time. Looks like Miller trying to force it up and ahead. It's just back and forth we go. Now in the latter half of this first quarter, seeing more of our action on the far end of the field. Lynchburg set up some chances early on. But a good job by York flipping the script. That's paramount in combating this Lynchburg team. That's what Ursinus started to do so well. Lynchburg did outshoot the Bears in the lone loss of the season. But Ursinus able to get more bites at the apple than most everyone Lynchburg has faced so far. Ursinus, mentioned this is the first ranked opponent for Lynchburg. Ursinus, at the time those two teams faced off, was not ranked. Now the Bears 19th in the Week 2 poll. Ursinus, a proud program, 2006 national champions. That's one of those where you look and, yeah, okay, maybe they're not ranked, but you know that's going to be a battle, ranked or not. Lynchburg outscored 3-1 in that one. That's their lone loss and a 5-1 mark. So looking for a marquee win today away from Schellenberger Field. Here's a shot going inside for Schaefer. That was a bit wide. Para Hornets and Dorstein into the game for the first time today, and Aaron Boatwright were both in close, trying to track that one down. Couldn't quite get to it. Dorstein and Boatwright both sporting long sleeves under Lynchburg, going with the black jerseys today. It's what they've been sporting at home for the most part as of late. Lynchburg is acting as the home team today. York in their road whites, green numbers and letters. Sharp jerseys for York today. Ball rolls out of bounds across the far side. Out of bounds line back over to York. So briefly, Lynchburg putting some pressure offensively. Doesn't amount into a whole lot, though. Still no shot put on frame by Lynchburg. Bill Fields, junior out of Centerville, Maryland, yet to be tested in this one. Caleb Brady just once. Mentioned both teams feeling one another out. Seen quite a few fouls and a lot of turnovers in the early going here. We'll see how long that continues to be the theme before somebody breaks the ice on this 0-0 tie. Ball soars up into the air, whistled for a foul, right back to Lynchburg. York converging, though. Trying to put some pressure on Lynchburg. Again, flipping that script and doing a good job of it so far. That pass looks like it might get through from Uchis to Dorstein. Dutch connection there, but instead it's broken up by the senior out of Crofton, Maryland, Sarah Peak. Mazizi out in space, going to try to make a defender miss. Tries to thread the needle to Vendricks. Vendricks corrals, sidesteps to her left. Her pass misses the stick of Anna Dorstein. So for the second time today, Vendricks looking for her teammates. More specifically, the second time in Dorstein in particular. That ball just moving a little bit quicker than Lynchburg's used to. This time it moves a little too fast for the York side of things. Rolls out of bounds. Lynchburg will have a chance to set things up, already operating from their attacking third. It comes inside. Renee Ventil makes her defender miss. Going to try to set up a shot. It goes high and whistled for a foul. Official pointing back the other way. It goes back over to York. Credit to Ventil collecting that ball right before the end of the quarter and putting a shot up, at least making Fields think about stepping out in defense. But an official save has not been made, and that attempt at a shot does take us to the end of the first frame. So a quarter that went by without issue, a quick 15 minutes and done. We have hit our first break of the day, and we will take it with them by telling you our score. Lynchburg 0, York 0. Well, after a first quarter in which we saw a combined 21 fouls, no penalty corners, and only one shot, though it was placed on frame by York. Caleb Brady, one save on the day. We got through that first quarter in record time. It's 11-16, and the teams are back on the field getting ready for this second quarter. And yeah, in my immediate memory, I cannot remember a time this season. This is the now 7th game of the year for Lynchburg that we got through a first quarter with a stat line like that, but here we are. Teams adjusting to a different playing surface. Lynchburg rather adjusting to this different playing surface. And York has certainly tested them, put the pressure on, and knows just one shot. They've spent a lot of time, if you like to think about time of possession, they've spent a lot of this first quarter on the far side of this field. They'll start out with the first possession of the second quarter. Center back there, Libby Wild, reigning MAC Commonwealth Player of the Week. Commanded today, she'd scored in back-to-back goals, 3 goals over 2 games. Not a bad stat line for the junior defender. Now trying to work it ahead is Mizizzi, corralling it in close for Lynchburg, and coming out making the first save of the day is Belle Fields. And that's how you got to do it as a goalkeeper. It is going to award the first penalty corner of the day, so credit to getting out in space there for Lynchburg. It was number 25, Olivia Van Meter. I believe that's her first shot of the season, but I will give credit to Field as well. She stepped up there with confidence, didn't bat an eye, just rose to the occasion of Van Meter's shot. When you step out of the goal, you got to do it with purpose, and that was the case there. But Lynchburg's not going to be upset to have this first penalty corner of the day. And for the first time this season, it will be Anna Dorstein sending it in. She'll send it into Ventil. Ventil shoots. It is saved momentarily and then batted in. I'm not sure if it was 22 or 21. Schaefer is 22. 21 is Dorstein. Wait on the official word. It is going to be number 21, Anna Dorstein, freshman out of the Netherlands, has her first goal of her career. So she sent in the penalty corner, and she winds up as the recipient of it from a goal-scoring perspective as well. She puts Lynchburg on top, first lead of the day. And this is where I'm obliged to remind everybody that Lynchburg's 5 wins this year, it has never trailed. It has led the entire game after breaking a 0-0 tie. And in its one loss, that was Ursinus, it never led. So, a good start for Lynchburg. Again, streaks are meant to be broken. Trends, in the words of Josh Pate, only exist to inform where we come into today. But it is of note for Coach Steele's squad. Schaefer has it right now. Renewed energy on the Lynchburg side of things. Wondered when we would see the ice break on the 0-0 tie. I knew it would at some point. And there you have it. Just about 2 minutes into the first quarter, Anna Dorstein, who over the last several games has gotten a little more active. Seen her minutes go up, placed a little more shots on frame. This time she cashes in first goal of the day, first goal of her career. Lynchburg controls possession again. Those passes starting to get a little more sure as this game moves on. This time it's not a pass that is the issue. Micah Hoot just has her pocket picked by the pair of York defenders. And now York's going to set up far side. Try to respond to the first goal of the day coming from Lynchburg. Substitution for the Hornets as Mallory Lamb runs on for Kanye Mizizzi. Brief break in the action. Of course, clock continues to roll. And now here we go. Just under 12 minutes to play in the first half. York continuing to control possession on this end. They are going to turn it back. No, excuse me. It is the penalty corner awarded. That was sort of my initial gut reaction was penalty corner. Then it looked like everybody, Renee Ventil having to jog back down. Yeah, we need one more person in the box there. So here we go. First penalty corner of the day for Lynchburg resulted in a score. We'll see if York can answer one of their own. Clock stopped at 11:33 to play, first half. Here it comes, inbound, controlled, middle of the field by Wild. Sends it back to the penalty corner taker, and then it is knocked out of there, cleared by Lynchburg. They avoid the first York penalty corner of the day momentarily before a turnover keeps it on that end of the field. Trying to force it back away for Lynchburg. Looked like Dorstein. I'm going to rely on those long black sleeves today to try and help identify her and Boatwright quickly. A little bit chillier day as we start to, I believe we are officially into fall now. October right around the bend, less than right out a week away. Beautiful time in the Hill City. Still mostly green as we overlook the scenes from behind Thayer Field. But those leaves will start changing here in the next couple weeks. Riley Cameron knocks that one out of bounds, trying to stop. A little more pressure applied from York. Good response from the Spartans after giving up that first goal of the day. Ball goes out of bounds to the far side. Lynchburg will send it back in. It's Ventil trying to knock it past everybody. It's controlled by Van Meter. She makes her defender miss, but corralling, getting back to it was Wild. Good effort by her. She was beat initially, doesn't give up on the play, chases down that ball and gives it back to York. Lynchburg, though, does get it right back. It's Vendricks with space. This isn't good. Vendricks puts one in, too wide. We saw what she could do with some space to work with, getting out in transition against Randolph-Macon, converting on the game-winning goal. It was a beauty. She got all of that shot and was trying to do the same, or at least something similar right there. Puts that shot a good bit wide, though. Say it's last touched by York, and Schaefer controls it for Lynchburg. York applying double teams and traps as much as possible, getting some good results out of it right here, forcing the turnover. Forcing a reset as it goes out of bounds on the end line. Reset back for Lynchburg on what today we'll just call the attacking third white line. Of course, on Schellenberger Field, that line is blue, stands out all on its own. All the lines here on Thayer Field are white. That ball smacked by Allie Freeman. Getting after it with equal velocity there was Miller. Whistles foul, dead ball. 8:12 to go in the first half. And now York forces the Lynchburg turnover. Great defense from the Spartans. A whole team involved on that possession, making life difficult on Lynchburg. They got the good shot, or rather the best shot opportunity from Vendricks as a good feed up ahead comes along the near side. Cameron trying to take it away. She's whistled for the foul. Brief reset, and here we go again. York trying to get in close. Goes between the legs. It's one-on-one. Brady hits the turf, makes the initial save. Can she do it again? Trying to force the ball out of harm's way is Lynchburg. And they will escape. Kayla Brady hitting the turf again and making the save. She has been tested in the early going. Should be her second save of the day. We do stay on this far side of the field. You see York rather, jumping on every single opportunity to try and force a mistake from Lynchburg, especially on this end of the field. They've had again, as I said, it's pretty good results here in the early going. See if any frustration sets in for Lynchburg. They do have the advantage right now of having that one up on the scoreboard. So that ball is slightly misplayed, but again tracked down by Wild. See her sort of turn on the jets, that closing speed on the ball. So it makes her a high-caliber defender. And obviously, as we noted in that first quarter, she's had an effect on the offensive side of the ball as well. Again, the clock has stopped just 3 times in this game, a penalty corner apiece, and 1 goal scored by Lynchburg. Other than that, we have rolled along with some pretty good pace. 6 minutes remain as the clock will stop here. A brief conversation may have been between the official on the right side and some of the fans. I'm not sure. She's not sure who else she may have been speaking to. Didn't look like she was looking in the direction of the statistician. Nonetheless, play continues. We roll under 6 minutes to go. Mazizi trying to track that one down, gets turned around and turns it over to York. Anna Samoes, trying to get out in transition for York. First time we've called her name today. Forgive me if I, any point, mistake a number or a name. We will flip the field in the second half, so it should be pretty fair. It'll be easier to start seeing some of those York jerseys, but obviously when they're on the attacking half, left my binoculars at home today. Bad day for it. Got to add that to my checklist, throw those in the old backpack when we hit the road for these neutral site contests. We're going to have the second penalty corner of the day afforded to York. Lynchburg got out of jail free the first opportunity York had at the set piece. See how they handle this the second one. Looks like Brooke Cordisco is going to send it in for York. That one ricochets off Brady right into the stick, I believe, of Spatafora. Check that for you here in a second. We're going to check that Hannah Downs, I believe it was. Brady comes up, makes two saving efforts on the ball. Second penalty corner, Lynchburg avoids unscathed. But credit to York on both of these first half corners. Yeah, the initial shot has been stopped, but in that case they had the rebound, but then continuing to apply the pressure. This ball gets out ahead of everybody and just continues to roll all the way out of bounds and back over to York. Aaron Boatwright and Libby Wild giving chase for their respective teams. Wild wound up being a little bit closer to it, but not a whole lot Boatwright could do. Wild corrals that one, sends it back to the left corner. That's been the difference at times when Lynchburg's found itself pinned next to the end line, pinned in the corner. York's done a good job utilizing the trap, utilizing the double team. Lynchburg doing a good job closing out, but it's often just the one on-ball defender. That ball goes high in the air, slapped back down to the ground, looked like by Mallory Lamb. She'll corral it for Lynchburg. Heading back the other way, Van Meter's still in the game. Seen a lot of her in the early going, and as we say that, she substitutes out. It's replaced, I believe, by Lisanne van der Weiss, who immediately takes control of the ball, trying to work it ahead. That ball's momentum was stopped a bit by the York defender. Otherwise, she had a cutter and Danielle Kuhn to her right side. Kessa Schaefer giving defense on the far side. Instead, it's taken back by York. Foul whistled again against the Lynchburg team that had 13 calls go against it in the first quarter. Mentioned 21 total. It was 8 for York. Reese Hardman sends it back in for the Spartans. We are under 3 minutes remaining in the first quarter. That ball knocked out of play by Lynchburg. Looks like 31 van der Weiss. Cameron stops and sends the ball back ahead, where it is retrieved by York's Riley Bouchert. She was very active in the first quarter, setting up some of these possessions in the front field. It's the first time we've called her name here in the second stanza. Mazizi, good pressure being applied against her. They momentarily force her into the turnover before the whistle is blown for the foul. Mazizi has it again, tries to get a hold of that one. It's deflected, but still corralled by Boatwright. Boatwright sending in the cross, cannot be corralled by van der Weiss. Last touched by Lynchburg, again on the far side. It is Hardman to send it back in. This time Lynchburg a chance to set up a trap of its own. See if they can force the turnover out of it. They haven't yet. Now the ball goes across midfield and then sent back right back the other way. Good job by Cameron that center back roll, monitoring the center of the field. It's Ventile looking for Boatwright. Her pass is broken up. Sarah Peak did it. Kuhn on the second opportunity, and that one is kicked away as well. It will stay with Lynchburg, but they're going to start a good ways away from the goal. As the York defense continues to stand tall, save the one score that is currently the difference in this game. We'll note that 1-0 advantage as we go under a minute to go sends Lynchburg's first half advantage on the year to 15-2, and the Hornets still have yet to surrender a goal in the second quarter. They're 42 seconds away from extending that streak through 7 games. They got a good chance to score, but Highland couldn't quite corral it on the first opportunity. Looking for the second. Foul is called. Will not draw a penalty. So 27 seconds to go. Clock continues to roll. Felt a little bit of momentum going Lynchburg's way there momentarily, but again, York rises to the occasion. Gets the ball out of a tough spot. And they'll be able to set up offensively once more. Only 10 seconds to go. Got to work quickly. They may not even have time doing that. And that ball getting sent out of bounds probably going to put a ribbon on this first half. It is a first half where the clock stopped just 4 times. 3 times for penalty corners, 1 time for a Lynchburg score. And that Lynchburg score is the lone difference maker after 30 minutes of play. Lynchburg takes a 1-0 advantage to the break. We will step aside and return in just a few moments to run through some of the halftime numbers, players to watch, and storylines to keep an eye on for the second half of play. You're watching York and Lynchburg on LHSN. Welcome back, still from the Hill City, but change of scenery. It's Thayer Field, not Schellenberger Field. Haven't gotten them mixed up just yet. Surface probably give it away. And, of course, the blue outer field signifying a little bit closer to the Sweet Briar colors than Lynchburg. But Sweet Briar not the opponent. Of course, it is York and Lynchburg, pair of top 25 teams. As we flip the field, York will now be attacking to the near side. Lynchburg to the far side. Kayla Brady closest to us, 3 saves on 3 shots faced, a perfect half for her. And on the other side for Bell Fields, 1 save, 2 shots faced. Lynchburg finding the goal that has been the difference in the game so far, a 1-0 score. They found it off of a penalty corner. Hornets have done a pretty good job on the year capitalizing on those corner opportunities. That was one thing that they were not able to do against Randolph-Macon in the midweek action, but so far so good today. So they've had 1 corner and 1 goal off. So something to be proud of for head coach Enza Steele. First ranked matchup of the season for Lynchburg, looking for a marquee win. Even better that it is away from home. Don't have the friendly confines of Pack the Track or Schellenberger Field to rely back on. And York on the other side looking for its second marquee win of the season. Already defeated Johns Hopkins, who a season ago was in the national semifinals. It's more than a quality win for this Spartan program, who a win today gives them a 7-0 start. There's only, if memory serves, 6 undefeated teams remaining in Division III lacrosse. Lynchburg's got 2 of them on the schedule. York is 1, Keene is another. But of course, I'm sure that will change, if not here, somewhere over the course of games this weekend. And Lynchburg, this is game 2 of a pretty brutal stretch in the schedule. 3 games in 4 days for Lynchburg. Those legs going to be a little tired, I have to imagine, come tomorrow. Another neutral site game on tap. Tomorrow it'll be at Liberty as Lynchburg will take on Center. But that will be a problem to tackle tomorrow. For right now, Lynchburg trying to protect a 1-0 advantage. They lead the all-time series 8-6 over York, but York has won the last 2 matchups. Lynchburg against top 25 opponents since 2021, an even 6-6. So looking to move above 500 with a win today. Yet to see a shot in this second half. The first half, Lynchburg's goal was assisted, a double assist at that. Anna Dorstein was the goal scorer. She sent in the penalty corner and cashed it in as well. It's a 4-4 shot disparity between the 2 teams. Lynchburg putting just 2 on goal. York 3, and now 4 as we've gotten into the early stages of this third quarter. Just over 3 minutes gone by. Of course, 3 corners, 2 for York, 1 for Lynchburg. No cards given out, green, yellow, or red. But we did have nearly 50 fouls between these 2 teams in the first half. And now, after 3.5 minutes of the third quarter, we're up to 54. 32 against Lynchburg, 22 errors against York. Hornets have had some foul trouble on the year. 34 Thursday against Randolph-Macon. Gotten a little bit better since their season high of 55, which they committed against Dickinson. They were on pace for that at the break today, 29 at the half. We'll see if it's a slightly cleaner third and fourth quarter. Kessa Schaefer rockets one into the front field, but will not place it on frame. She's swung her stick a couple of times today, but again has yet to test fields with any of her shots. We stay on the Lynchburg attacking third here. Hornets trying to prolong this possession. That one ricocheted off of something. Not sure if it was Fields' boot or maybe a post. It had some velocity to it, a little heat behind it. Sweeping from right to left and goes out of bounds. Must have been off either a York stick or Fields in goal because it does stay with Lynchburg. Mazizi has it as she surveys for a teammate. Sends it backwards to Kuhn, who thinks about going inside, instead turns and goes back outside. Passes back to Olivia Muir, who works it into the front of the field looking for Mazizi. Now Dorstein in, trying to control it. She hits the turf. Again, got to imagine this artificial AstroTurf surface little slicker than usual today with the rain. For the moment, it's a very, very light drizzle, but it's come in and out throughout this game so far. 48 minutes since this one got underway. These two teams sort of chomping at the bit all day. They started the game, I think, a minute early and came out of the halftime break about 90 seconds early as well. So, two teams, they're just anxious to play. York trying to put some pressure on the near side. Lynchburg trying to get out of it. Vendricks goes between the legs of her defender. She's got to look for a cross. Makes a defender miss. Can she set up a shot? She'll take it herself, scooting it in and off to the far side of the goal. Fields hitting the turf to cover that one up. She does not cover it up entirely, but does prevent a goal from being scored, though I'm not sure Vendricks put that one on frame in the first place. Now streaking back near side, trying to create a transition opportunity. Muir trying to take it away for Lynchburg. And again, it's a pair of York defenders closing on her. This time Lynchburg gets out of it, but the pressure is unrelenting from the Spartan defense. Schaefer has it right now, center of the field, trying to get away from her defender. Rare one-on-one opportunity. Matchup was briefly won by York, but they were whistled for the foul, and then Lynchburg turns it over out of bounds. So now quickly with 7.5 minutes already gone by in this third quarter. More of the time has continued to have been spent on the far side, though this time it's Lynchburg controlling offensive possession. Score still holds at 1-0. Mazizi lines one up, does not knock it down, but it will draw a penalty corner for Lynchburg, the second of the day. Anna Dorstein sent it in last time. That's a job that has often been filled by Boatwright, and when not Boatwright, it's been Danielle Kuhn. But obviously it worked pretty much to perfection when Dorstein stepped up to the plate. This time, though, it will be the familiar face of Aaron Boatwright, who we mentioned leads Lynchburg with 6 goals on the year, 14 points. Marlou Vendricks has been the hot hand as of late, 7 points over the last 2 games. But Boatwright has scored in all but one contest this year. That shot sent up high, and a beauty of a shot puts Lynchburg up 2-0. It might be taken off. Yeah, looks like that one is going to be wiped off the board with just under 7 minutes to go, but we will wait. It's going to pend a discussion between officials. Nope, they're going to leave it on. They say goal stands. That shot did look pretty close to being inside the semicircle. But yeah, they rule a 2-0 advantage. Goes the way of Lynchburg. And it was Marlou Vendricks. So we were just speaking her name. 7 points over the last 2 games. Make it 9 over the last 3. Vendrix has scored in 3 straight. And after leading Lynchburg in scoring a season ago with 17 goals, she is really starting to get things going on the offensive end. That goal ties her with Erin Boatwright. Actually, we're going to have to check that. Erin Boatwright should be credited with the assist on that goal. So this has turned into a very entertaining battle to see who can control the team lead in points for Lynchburg. If Boatwright's credited with the assist, that'll be her 15th point of the year. And 2 points on the goal for Vendrix would bring her to 14. But again, it all hinges on that assist. Otherwise, we're tied. But that is a bit secondary to the task at hand, and that is the remaining 21 minutes of this game. York's put a fair share of pressure on Lynchburg, controlling most of this third quarter, and they use that to their advantage in that instance, picking up goal number 2 on the day. A pair of Dutchies, as Vendrix would say. Anna Dorstein took off the lid, scored early in the second period, bring our score to 1-0. Vendrix extends it, doubles the lead to 2. Lynchburg operating with a little bit of a cushion. A lot of field hockey to be played. Center of the field, York trying to flip the field. Set up some of the pressure that they found some success with in the first quarter. But again, still looking to break the ice, find that first goal on the day. Near side, dribbling, staying away, doing a good job keeping Schaefer right off her right shoulder. It's Maggie Spatafora. Though it's all for naught at the end of the day. Ball goes out of bounds, sent back over to Lynchburg. Trying to keep it in the attacking half. Who wants it more? This time it's York. A little bit of space to operate. Dorstein coming up in defense. She sails past the ball carrier. Looks like that was Olivia Miller shaking off. Check that. Looks like Libby Wild, 25 there in the center. Mallory Lamb trying to send it back across for Lynchburg. Got too much of that one. Sends it all the way down the field, out of play, and turns back over to York. Looks like Hardman, fifth-year defender, is going to be tasked with trying to make the sure pass here to set up another York possession. She's been tasked with that role numerous times today. Turnover here in dangerous territory for York. Good territory for Lynchburg. Ventile tries to line one up. It is stopped, sent back, and sent out of bounds by York. Ball stays with Lynchburg. 3:46 to play in the third quarter. As the clock has stopped just twice in this third frame. Lynchburg 2 penalty corners on the day, 2 scores off. Playing sound field hockey, relying on those set pieces that, as this year has progressed, have for the most part become more and more reliable. Lynchburg was able to generate a lot of corners in their first road trip of the season, taking on Lebanon Valley and Dickinson, who were not necessarily turning into scores. But now through this 4-game homestand, now back-to-back neutral site games where Lynchburg gets to stay in the Hill City, and then it'll be one more game on Schellenberger Field against Stevenson before finally hitting the road again for a 3-game road trip. Lynchburg starting to play its brand of field hockey. Looking for win number 6 on the season. And knock off one of the few remaining unbeaten teams in the country. They've applied the pressure. Now, can they continue to do so and continue to hold on the final 17 minutes and change of this game? I'll tell you one thing for sure, York, it's not going to be any letdown or backing off from the Spartans. And his Spartan ball on the far side. Lynchburg's got to breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief every time York has to send it in from either the out-of-bounds line or has to send it in after a brief stoppage, because it does give the Lynchburg defense a chance to set up. try to make life a little more difficult than when York can operate out in transition. Schaefer takes it away, stops the transition opportunity for the Spartans. She tries to place a cross that is stopped by Vendricks. Now a shot in open space. Believe that was Micah Uchis. 1 goal, 1 assist on the year. Uchis picked up her first score of the season in the 9-1 onslaught over Kenyon. 9 different goal scorers for Lynchburg in that game. Mallory Lamb trying to keep the pressure on, keep things on this side, this far side of the field from where we sit, perched atop a wet and soggy Thayer Field on a Saturday, almost afternoon, 2 minutes before noon is upon us. From the Hill City, that one gets away from the stick of the York player. Looked like Olivia Miller, freshman out of Frederick, Maryland. Shouts to Frederick, Maryland, the GA, the men's cross-country team, Brennan Straits at Lynchburg. Frederick product himself. Quickly shooting it back into the front field is Lynchburg. It's taken away by York. Now maybe a chance for a fast break. Lynchburg, a good job getting back, but we'll see if York can outplay him. Cameron, I believe, knocked that one out of bounds, so now York a chance to set up a good couple feet in front of midfield, trying to corral it. A battle between Cameron and number 6, Katie Martino. For York, they got Cameron pinned in the corner. The ball's probably going out of bounds. Who's it going to be touched by? It will be Cameron, but not before the third quarter could come to its end. So Lynchburg tacks on one more, and they take a 2-0 advantage into the final 15 minutes. Number 25, Lynchburg. Number 7, York. A top 25 showdown on the campus of Sweet Briar College. We have the conclusion for you in just a few moments. We return to play for the final 15 minutes of action between Lynchburg and York. A top 25 showdown being brought to you on the field hockey fields, Thayer Field at Sweet Briar College. You're watching LHSN. I am Sam Graham, excited for the final stanza of what has been, to say a fast-paced game so far would probably be an understatement. Way more fouls than shots in this one. Well, whole bevy of turnovers. We don't keep track of them. I wish we did. It is Lynchburg with the 2-0 advantage as we enter the final quarter of play. A couple things to keep an eye on from a storyline perspective. Some of them we've already noted today. York looking for a program best 7-0 start. They're already risen to their highest ranking in the NFHCA poll in program history. That is number 7. Lynchburg ranked as well at number 25. This is the 9th all-time meeting. Let's try this one more time. This is the 15th all-time meeting that Lynchburg leads 8-6. Though York has won the last 2 meetings. Lynchburg looking for its first ranked win of the 2023 campaign. It has played one team that is currently ranked in the top 25. That's Ursinus, but fell to the Bears on a Code Red outing. An 11 a.m. start for that one as well. That was on Schellenberger Field 2 weeks ago, if memory serves correctly. A win today would be a very big one. And currently pitching a shutout is Lynchburg. It'd be their third of the year if the score holds. It'll be a hard-fought shutout if it does. That ball scoots by everybody, and Caleb Brady was not tasked with having to stop that one. It does hit the back of the cage, but sent in from beyond the semicircle. So my voice raised. Sometimes have to forget and go back and say, wait a minute, that one was sent in from beyond the accepted semicircle. So watching Brady initially come up to contest and say, no, that's okay, I'll let it roll by. Gives me a little bit of pause. Now it's Lynchburg with the ball trying to attack. It's sent out of bounds, poked out by York. Nothing has come easy on this Lynchburg side of things today. And miscommunication there. Looks like the ball should have been awarded to York. It was given to Mallory Lamb. Now it is taken by the Spartans and sent back in by Reese Hardman. Trying to get out in space. Good job poking that ball away was Riley Cameron, but now she is blanketed by a pair of York players. Good effort keeping that ball in bounds is Macy Collison. Rockets one looking for a cross there, but it goes out of bounds across the back end line. Sent back over to Lynchburg, protecting a 2-0 advantage with 12:10 to play. Two goals surrendered today is the most of the season for York. They've allowed one goal in an overtime decision, a 2-1 win over Franklin and Marshall, a goal allowed against Ithaca, and one against then number 2 Johns Hopkins. 2 goals is unforeseen territory so far. It's a York team averaging just south of 3 goals per game. And the season high offensive output is 3. So that's still in range, but shots are going to have to start coming in a hurry. So look at the time and the score. Overtime probably more likely than York storming back in regulation alone. But again, you never know, and that's why they play the games. But it's Lynchburg setting up its third penalty corner of the day, second of the second half. And the first 2 corners today have resulted in goals. We'll see if Lynchburg can make it 3 for 3. Aaron Boatwright going to send it in on the far side. Here it comes. Into the center of the field. Corralled. Sent back to the left. Shot lined up by Vendricks. Stays. York trying to corral it. Whistle blows the play dead momentarily. It's just going to set up another penalty opportunity, though, for Lynchburg. Haven't seen the Hornets do this yet today, but they got a bit of a talent for drawing out and stacking these penalty corners one on top of the other. When we talk about putting pressure on the opposing defense, it's Lynchburg's calling card. Everybody's going to get sick of hearing me say it by the end of the year, but it's an effective strategy and one that Lynchburg seems to be mastering a little more and more with each outing. This time it swings into Riley Cameron. Her shot is wide to the right side, and that time York is going to get out. Defender's able to throw the masks off, try to get out from having their back against the wall. They're going to have to avoid another Lynchburg possession, though. Schaefer has it center of the field, ping-ponging between defenders. Eventually, ball gets out and taken away by York. Transition opportunity and a little bump. That's got to be a foul against Mallory Lamb. Contact applied by Lamb, who has the lone defensive save for Lynchburg on the year. And that stopped The York transition attack in its tracks. Ball scoots out of bounds on the far side. Gives it back over to Lynchburg, Renee Ventil, with a pair of York defenders ready to try and send this back the other way. That's not going to be needed as the ball does tiptoe the out-of-bounds line all the way down before going out across the back end line. Maybe it will have gone out of bounds before that. It's spotted up ahead. We've seen a couple times today how the ball rolls a little bit differently on AstroTurf. This is a fast Lynchburg team, but that's second or third occasion that Hornets just haven't been able to track down the ball. On this surface, it'll just roll a little bit smoother. Playing where field hockey is meant to be played. It's Lamb again, this time getting beat. She soared right on past. Believe that is Olivia Miller putting down. That was a decent opportunity set up. The cross was looking for number 24, Hannah Huffman. It's taken back by York. Best opportunity of the day. Shot by number 9, Anna Simoes. Kicked out by Brady. York still with the ball. Putting pressure on inside. So some excitement for the York side of things. Lynchburg so far has not surrendered a goal. Brady had to come up and make her 4th save of the day. See if that ball can be tracked down, and more importantly, who it'll be tracked down by. It's sent out of bounds by Lynchburg. Feels like the best offensive opportunity of the day for York. Foul goes against Marlou Vendricks. Mazizzi trying to poke it away and clear it for Lynchburg. She works it ahead and will clear it. Not before it goes out of bounds, and giving chase nearest to it was Brooke Wild anyway. She's got a sure stick. Likely would have corralled that back the other way for York. So York giving itself an opportunity. Still 8 minutes to play. We've seen Lynchburg use penalty corners to its advantage. That'll be key to watch in the closing moments of this game to see if York can maybe start to set up a set piece or two. Mazizzi, a turning shot, fires and misses. Bounces back up against the fence behind the goal. Almost an optical illusion from where we sit. It almost looked like it was inside of the goal, but went out behind the short fence. Riley Weinfordner, first time we've called her name, comes in, pokes that one away, tries to work it ahead to Boatwright. Wild forces it back ahead the other way. A couple of transition opportunities for York in this second half, specifically in this fourth quarter. Yet to be seen if they can turn one into a goal. Cameron pokes that one away from Olivia Miller. And the foul goes against Cameron. Miller, I imagine, nope, foul will go against Miller. It's rather Weinfordner will send it back in for Lynchburg. She fakes to her left, goes to her right. Good defense by Miller. Along the out-of-bounds line, Schaefer trying to track that one down, diving on the turf and kicking it ahead. Ball pops up, corralled by Uchis. And yet again, that ball gets out ahead of everybody. That's the second time today Uchis' pass has just been a little too ambitious. Aaron Boatwright closest to it, but not able to get to it in time. 6:25 to play. Lynchburg still protecting a 2-0 advantage. No score change in this fourth quarter. Hornets now have the number 7 team in the country on the ropes a bit. York's controlled time of possession in this fourth quarter. Hornets, if you want to pick out a quarter that they've struggled, is that one going to be deemed a foul against Riley Cameron. She gets a little too much of it and sends it right into the back of Olivia Miller. As I was saying, if you want to pick a quarter that Lynchburg struggled, the fourth quarter would be the one to point out. Hornets have surrendered their most goals of any quarter in the fourth and scored their least. That ball close to the out-of-bounds line. Now it does go out just a little bit further back. It is York ball with 5:28 to play. That one scoots through the legs, I believe, of Hannah Downs. And out of bounds for Lynchburg, who will reset near. Yes, now will reset right there at. How about a little bit of a debate as to where this Lynchburg possession is going to start. First, Ventile set up a little closer to her own goal. Then it was like, wait, no, I think I might set up a little bit further up the field. And then official says, yeah, no, we're going to take a couple more steps back and we'll try again. After all that, ball scoots ahead of everybody. Become a bit of a theme today for Lynchburg. Out of that, York back goal line. Now, after just an hour and 13 minutes of play, there's only 4.5 minutes left to decide a winner unless we get overtime. But York still looking for its first goal of the afternoon. This is a time where, if you harken back to Lynchburg's most recent outing against Randolph-Macon, took a lead into the fourth quarter, and for lack of a better term, they were able to play keep away for the most part through the fourth quarter. That's not to say they're not trying to score. Obviously, the intentionality is always there, but the pressure was off, and that's been the case a little bit in this fourth quarter. York's done a good job of applying pressure and keeping Lynchburg on its toes defensively, but the need to press and search for that game-winning goal has not been the case here in this fourth quarter. As it stands right now, Anna Dorstein would be credited with the game-winning goal. Her score early in the second quarter. The difference maker in this game is Sydney Rose going to jog on for Lynchburg. Believe she's going to spell Marlou Vendricks. Lynchburg utilizing as many opportunities as it can get to get in some fresh legs. That's why we've seen heavy dose of Anna Dorstein, a heavy dose of Olivia Van Meter. As they played 2 days ago, and they'll play again tomorrow, regardless of how this one turns out. That schedule's unchanging. Lynchburg's got to try to win as many as they can in this brutal portion of the schedule. Hornets play on back-to-back days 3 times this year. Tomorrow's game against Center will be the second of those 3 occasions. Perfect 2-0 on a Saturday-Sunday doubleheader for field hockey program to start the year. Hornets in their last 3 times playing in those doubleheaders. 5-1 overall, a pair of sweeps. And they have won the back half of the doubleheader in all 3 pairings. So that bodes well for the game against Center tomorrow, as the clock will stop with 2:10 to play. Lynchburg going to set up its 5th penalty corner of the day. Converted goals upon their first 2. They did force a pair of them in this fourth quarter. Stacked one on top of the other, got a couple shots off, but were not able to tack on goal number 3 and extend the lead. We'll see if they can do it here. It'd be an absolutely brutal hit to York's comeback chances. Really alleviates the pressure for Lynchburg. They can jump out to a 3-0 advantage. Defensive block is made, and shaking that one off. Might have caught the shin. Believe it was Sophia Holtzner, junior defender out of Stevensville, Maryland. All it does is award another penalty corner to Lynchburg with 2 minutes to play. Sent in, gets by quite a few Hornets looking to play on it. Mallory Lamb eventually takes it. And that's taken away by York. See if Cameron, coming up in defense, can poke it away again. She's done a great job of single-handedly stopping a handful of York fast break opportunities. Corralling that pass are the Spartans. Can anybody get to it? No. York puts some pressure on it, but that, well, we can't call it a shot. Came from a good bit up the field, but did not reach the goal anyway, and Caleb Brady tracking it all the way. Brady trying to force another shutout in a storied career. Third year as the starter for Coach Steele's program. This would be right up there with one of the premier shutouts she has faced, but again, still a minute to go. York continuing to apply pressure on this side of the field. Most notable for Brady so far would be a 2-0 win over Johns Hopkins a season ago. It was Lynchburg's best win of the 2022 campaign. 18 saves on the day for Brady. Not quite 18 today, but it has been a good day in goal, as she is 27 seconds away from keeping a goose egg on the scoreboard for a very, very good York team. As Lynchburg came out, understood the assignment, probably with heavy legs after playing just 2 days ago against Randolph-Macon. They're now 10 seconds away from picking up a marquee win and knocking off one of the final 5 or 6 undefeated teams in the country. Lynchburg does it. They improved to 6-1. They have steadily dropped one spot at a time each week in the NFHCA poll. Have to imagine that if they take care of business tomorrow against Center, that might not be the case this time around in the Week 3 poll. A big win for Lynchburg away from Schellenberger Field. They pick up ranked win number 1 of the 2023 campaign, improve to 6-1 on the year, extend the win streak to 4. We celebrated win number 650 for head coach Enza Steele on Thursday against Randolph-Macon. That's going to be number 651. And another shutout for Caleb Brady and company on the defensive side. Pretty much every cylinder of the Lynchburg game clicking about as well as you would want it to on a rainy, wet, soggy Saturday afternoon. Big shout out to all of our LHSN crew making the trip up the road to Sweet Briar College to put on this production. They're the best in the business. Shout out to Josh Smith, our director. Let's see, I don't want to forget anybody with my shout out. Sam Rice, director of digital media. Kyle Ayers running our camera today. And Tim LaDuca, our sports information director, and his staff as well. And how about another shout out for athletic director John Waters getting out here and acting as a ball boy for a big win to add to his resume, one of the biggest wins of the 2023 season so far for Lynchburg sports. We will have you neutral site game number 2 tomorrow. Won't be at Sweet Briar. We will be at Liberty. Another 11 a.m. start. Coverage should start just before that, right around 10:50, as Lynchburg takes on Center, and will look for win number 7 and to extend the win streak to 5 early on in the 2023 campaign. We will step aside for one final time today by telling you our score once more. It was Lynchburg 2, York 0, as the Hornets pick up a big win over the number 7 team in the country. I'm Sam Graham, and until next time, we are signing off.